Hi, my name is Kathy and I work for the Pikes Peak Library District. Today I'm going to show you the easiest recipe for peanut butter cookies. You'll need some granulated sugar, smooth peanut butter, an egg, and if you want them, Hershey's Kisses to put on top. There are 3 things that I've done before I started this video that you should do before you start. Anytime before you start baking or cooking, you should wash your hands. I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and I took some parchment paper and laid it out on my cookie sheet. So, we start with 1 cup of sugar. And then the peanut butter is also just 1 cup. So we'll use the same cup again. What I like to do whenever I'm making a recipe that uses peanut butter is I like to take some cooking spray and just spray the cup first, just so it's easier to get the peanut butter out and you don't have as much sticking inside the measuring cup. We'll see if I have a cup of peanut butter in here, if I need to break into the new jar. I'm just going to spoon it out into my measuring cup. You want to make sure that you sort of push it towards the bottom so that you make sure you don't have any big air gaps in there that aren't filled in by peanut butter. Okay, nice and full. So we'll go ahead and scoop it back out into the bowl with the sugar. And you can see that because I sprayed it, there's some stuck a little at the edges there where the spray didn't get as well, but most of it in the bottom is pretty clean. So I'll scrape a little off the top edges and add that in. And then go ahead and crack in your egg. And then you can take the same spoon that you used to scoop the peanut butter into the measuring cup and just use that to mix everything together. It mixes a little strangely since it's just sugar and peanut butter and an egg, and it just sort of looks like you're moving peanut butter around in the middle of sugar for a while. But it starts to come together. And I go around and make sure that I scrape the sides because some of this sugar likes to get stuck up on the edges. And then I also like to sort of scrape along the bottom with my spoon to make sure there is not any pockets of sugar at the bottom there either. Okay, so that's your cookie dough. Very easy. Cup of sugar, a cup of peanut butter, and an egg. So now we can start putting it onto the sheet. I have this handy dandy cookie scooper that I like to use whenever I make cookies, just because it's easier. But if you don't have a cookie scooper, totally cool. You can just scoop out about a tablespoonful of the dough at a time and put it onto the sheet. Here's where you have an option. You can either put your dough straight on the sheet or you can roll it in a little sugar. I like to do that. So I've got a tiny bowl here, and I'll just put some sugar in there. Probably about this much. 2 or 3 tablespoons. And then I have my cookie scoop, so I'll just scoop my dough into the sugar and roll it around in the bowl until it's just lightly covered with sugar, and then set it on the sheet. If you don't want the extra sugar, you can just scoop it straight onto the cookie sheet instead. And you just want to set them a couple of inches apart on the sheet. Okay, so this is the last one for my tray. And I do have cookie dough left over in the bowl. The last time I made this recipe, I made a full sheet with 12, and then after they were done, I made another 6. I don't think I have quite as much this time, but it's going to be more than a dozen cookies, but not 2 dozen. Okay, now that you have all your cookie dough balls laid out on your sheet, you have another choice. Your first choice was, do I want to roll the dough in some sugar or not? Second choice, you can do a crosshatch pattern on the cookie with a fork for sort of the like traditional peanut butter cookie look, or you can leave it as is. I'm going to do half the sheet with the fork crosshatch and leave the other half so you can see how they both come out. Got my fork, so I'll just go horizontally and then vertically. For these first 6. So it's sort of your classic peanut butter cookie look. The other ones I will leave just the way they are. You don't have to flatten them down or anything. They'll all spread out a little as they bake. Our tray is ready to go in the oven, and they will bake for about 10 minutes. Make sure you set your timer so you don't forget. You want the wonderful smell of fresh baked cookies in your house and not the smell of burned cookies because you forgot they were in the oven. See you in 10. Okay, so it's been 10 minutes. My timer just went off. So since I'm going to show you the cookies here, I put this trivet on my counter so that I don't damage anything. Got my oven mitt. Time to take out the cookies. Okay, here they are. And you can look at the edges and sort of touch them and see that they're set. So the middle of the cookie is kind of softer. The edges are more set than the centers are. We have our crosshatch cookies at the back here. And then the ones at the front, you can leave them as is, or you can add Hershey's Kisses, which is what I am going to do. So you want to do this basically right when they come out of the oven. And you just sort of press it in a little bit. And you can see the cookie crinkle a little as you press in the candy. So you want to put the kisses on there basically as soon as they come out of the oven. So now you want them to sit on the tray about 5 minutes, regardless of whether or not they have chocolate on them, just to finish setting and sort of start cooling. If you try to move them now, they will fall apart because they're just so soft. So once the 5 minutes are done, you can use a spatula to move them over to a wire rack, and then they can finish cooling, and then you can enjoy your wonderful, easy peanut butter cookies.